This is the marshmallow pattern, which is the sergeable cloth pad pattern in my shop, and I am printing 2 pages of the second page, which is the 2.5 to 2.6-ish snapped width. So after I print 2 pages, I'm going to cut off one of the margins on the bottom and then align that to the other page and decide which flare lengths I want to have on each end. Because I'm mainly doing this as a test to test my serger, I'm just picking one of the shortest lengths because I don't want to mess up a really long pad and waste the material. So I just went ahead and marked the lengths that I was gonna cut out, and then used some scissors, cut on the sewing line, and then I just used one of my scrap pieces of paper to trace the core. Like I just held it up to the window and traced the shape of the core so I didn't have to print any more pages. And then I'm cutting out the shape from some organic bamboo velour. I traced with a washable marker the sewing line onto the front of the topper. I kind of wish I had waited till later to do that, but I'll talk about that in a minute. So here's the core. This is Zorb, and I'm just cutting out one layer of it for test purposes. And so the reason I wish I had drawn the line later is that I was kind of just guessing where the core should be placed. Because you can't see it on the back side. So I wish I had sewn the core on and then drawn the sewing line on. And also I chose probably the most difficult way to sew on the core because I'm just doing it by feel from the top. Just using my fingers to feel the outline of the core and just aligning that to the side of the presser foot. Why I chose to do it this way, I don't know. You could just flip it over and sew this on while being able to see the actual core, and that would look fine also. The fuzzy fabric is gonna hide any evidence that you sewed it from the other side. You probably wouldn't even notice. So I don't know, this is just one way that you can do it. You can also do a wavy stitch or a zigzag if you don't want to do a straight stitch, because a straight stitch requires a little more accuracy to look perfect. Here's how it looks. I think it's all right considering I was just winging it from the front side blind. And now I'm going to go baste this to the backing material. So I'm going to spritz it with a little bit of basting spray and then stick it to the Power Stretch 9411. This is stretchy. I definitely recommend starting with stretchy fabrics when you're serging, because fabrics like PUL, which is polyurethane laminate, are not stretchy, and I think they're really hard to serge if there are like tight inner corners, inner curves to do, because they don't want to be easily manipulated. All right, this is my first time sewing a pad in years, so I was really just winging it. I felt like I was driving a car for the first time, and I was just going off of what I remember from years ago. So I pinch each corner to try to make that inner curve as straight as possible, and then when I get to the outer curve, I am pushing the fabric into the knife, and sometimes I forget to keep my left hand pushing the pad towards the needles a little bit. Like, I don't really need to push them, but if you don't apply some pressure, then they can kind of want to pull away from the needles, and then you'll have loops that are not snug against the cut edge. So I had a little bit of that towards the end of the pad. Not a big deal, but just remember to keep some firm pressure there with your left hand so that the fabric doesn't pull away from the needles. So I just keep straightening these inner curves to put them into the blade with a straight line. And then I got a little squirrely at the end, but that's okay because this was just the first pad that I was trying. I was really nervous, but it actually ended up, I think it turned out better than any of the pads that I made before when I was regularly serging stuff. So just dive in. If you're nervous about it, just start. You can do it. And I'm going to show you the imperfections just so you can see, like, it is okay. Okay, I did it. I did it. So I'm gonna call this a success. Look at that one. That looks pretty good. I need to figure out how to slow down my machine a little bit because that was scary. I felt like I was playing a really hard video game. So that's like the only spot where the loops are too far over the edge, but honestly, this pad looks Completely usable, just like that. At this point, just fold over the wings, poke the holes for the snaps, and you're good to go.